Hi everybody, how are you doing? This is sjsrana, your favorite host, Surinderjit Singh Rana. Now, I'm reporting for global events for July 14th at about 1927 hours UTC. So we got a couple of topics we got to discuss, folks, which are very important. Some of them includes the biosecurity global draft for the COVID-19 and the after effects. We're also going to see how Olympics 21, which is scheduled for July 23rd, is faring up. Apart from that, we'll see how weather patterns across the globe or the chaos is turning up as solar cycle 25 is in progress. And I predicted that there will be water-related disasters, which we are going to witness how it's changing the globe. So quickly, first come first, we got Olympics 21, which is scheduled for July 23rd in Japan. And a lot of nations are looking forward, but this time they have come up with a new plan that they won't be putting up medals as they used to do in historical fact. It will remain closed now, and the performers who will come at the top level will be themselves putting on the medals. So it's going to be a history in making, folks, for 21. So we'll see this change because COVID-19 restrictions has put this new order. However, it just seems to be a very laughable situation that why such things are happening, because that just alone one medal is so important for COVID-19, whereas the whole premises where the Olympics will be hosted and all those people they'll be meeting, drinking, having all sort of different things is not a concern. So this is quite dubious, and this is quite, you can say, double standards. So I don't understand what these officials are doing, but this seems to be very inconspicuous, how they are trying to evade certain facts and then trying to put up some other things. Anyways, let's see what's going to happen actually on Olympics in July, in summer 21. We hope to see a lot of surprises like such and a lot of, you can say, laughable situations. So anyways, many nations will be preparing, and we know the global tally from last. We are seeing many nations preparing. India is also preparing for Olympics. India PM Mr. Modi has been addressing people as parents who have qualified for Olympics, and especially we'll see this clip, a short clip from PM Modi addressing the person. India does need such inspiration because many times India having 1.4 billion population doesn't come up to the top 3 or top 5 even in the top tally. So PM Modi is doing a good job at least inspiring these people so that they at least come up in top 5, because it's having 1.4 billion population just like compared to China, whereas China always stands in one of the top 3 or top 4 nations in Olympics. So let's see what PM Modi has to say.
देखिए, आपके परिवारजन भी बड़े गर्व के साथ आज मुझे दर्शन हो रहे हैं उनके भी कि भाई देखिए सौरभ क्या कमाल करेगा, सब उनकी आंखों में बड़ा बड़े सपने दिखाई दे रहे हैं। देखिए सौरभ, मेहनत के साथ साथ शूटिंग में मानसिक एकाग्रता की भी बहुत जरूरत होती है।
PM Modi has addressed this person and the nation to be very alert and spend time on meditation, to be focused. So I think it's a very good message from India leadership, at least trying to inspire those people to at least come in first 5 or first 3 of the nations having an Olympics participation. So I hope, folks, we got a lot of good messages for the world where we must hope and have a good spirit, mind, body, spirit, to come through or battle through this whole COVID-19 pandemic and all other situations which are coming up from time to time. As we see, weather is going to do a lot of bizarre things, as I've been predicting solar cycle 25, and more so when we see the climate catastrophe happening in front of us. I hope the citizens of the planet Earth take a cue and come up with the more stronger approach towards saving the planet from the climate catastrophe. And now we're going to quickly jump towards the lingering COVID-19 symptoms, which are coming up for many folks, almost around like 25 to 30% of the people, which are termed as long-term COVID, or also known as asymptomatic patients, where they are not able to immediately detect the COVID-19, but they seems to be having a long-term COVID, which is some of the symptoms appear like brain fog, fatigue, severe migraines. So many of these illness are occurring in some patients, and some are able to cope up easily, some are able to take long time to defend because the immunity is so low. So all these immunity system of the human, of individual, is basically different. So it depends on person to person. Obviously, those patients who are having prior ailments like diabetes, sugar, or heart attack, or those things, they are going to be suffering the most, and they immediately get the COVID-19 attack, which we are already seeing. So the guidelines have to be there very clear that how these long-term COVID patients or people should deal with these symptoms. And we see a lot of people have different views, and I'm just putting up some of the views which they have mentioned on these sites. Basically, it's funny that I was basically went from one quarantine to the another. Basically, the quarantine post-surgery, I like the freedom, So obviously everybody likes the freedom, but given the fact that COVID-19 Delta variant, which is originally from India, has been rampaging the whole world and globe now, and there seems to be no respite. And I do understand WHO has to raise red flag here, because this Delta variant and there is Delta plus Lambda variant from the South Africa, is also making new different appearances towards the nations. So folks, I still caution that COVID-19 or this pandemic is still not over. And obviously the India, which seems to be having some respite, has opened up the lockdown. But I again caution India, as I've been doing for the last 2-3 months, that the third wave will start in August 2021. So this is something where India has to ensure that those social distancing norms are followed. And if people are start intermingling or lot gatherings start taking place, then obviously they have done the same mistake which they did towards when the first wave ended. So this is what India and other nations need to learn from each other. Their mistakes they have to understand, so that they don't pose a global biosecurity threat towards the whole world. Recently, Germany allowed the travelers from India. Apart from it, allowed the green vaccines, which are two of the vaccines which India produced, from Covaxin and another vaccine from which is Bharat Biotech. Despite many other nations like France and other nations opposing India vaccine, because they do seem that the efficacy of India vaccine is too low. It's just around 77%, folks, compared to, let's say, Sputnik V, which is having over 93-92% efficacy. And the rest of the same is with the other vaccines like Moderna, if you look at the Pfizer vaccine. And there is a big problem going on with the India is that while they're opening up, we see this, many states are taking different approach how to open up. And you see like this West Bengal female leadership, which is quite proactive on tackling these things, have been coming up with the relaxations rules, and they are also having cautionary note. So every state is taking different approach, but as the whole nation, India, opens up and prepares for wave 3, it must be very, very careful so that it doesn't land into same situation. Because recently, if you see 1 or 2 days back, they had a spike in fatalities. For a normal maintaining a benchmark or a high watermark of 1,000 deaths, fatalities per day, they spiked to 2,000, which was just 1 or 2 days back. So, folks, these spikes at a huge spike, which is like almost 100% difference, is a quite indication that these active new variants or mutations in India are quite possibly linked, and these callous approach towards social distancing is a basic problem for all these such things. So we'll see how different states in India accordingly act and accordingly make a good plan. And we see how these new spikes of cases in India and the spikes of fatalities are going to be indicative to how the third wave is going to pan out. But I do see third wave, which I predicted 3 months is going to be again disastrous, just like second wave. Because, folks, there are many factors in India which you don't understand. In this small video, I can't explain a whole lot. But I tell you, because I've been telling again and again my prior videos, that the sexual predators population, which are massive in India, are uncontrollable. Despite lockdown and COVID-19, they were uncontrollable. They were, doing those same business with the females, intermingling, and despite knowing that COVID-19 pandemic is ongoing, they were relentless. And not only that, the problem with the India sexual predators are so huge that, many reports do still keep coming that every 70 minutes India reports the rape of a female. So this is quite conservative number to understand it's every 5 minutes. Because of such nature of India, massive sexual predators, we are going to witness COVID-19 problem or a threat to India. And India has to come up with some strategy either to control these sexual predators or to have some monitoring surveillance over them or to put up some vaccination plan. Because India, if you look at it, it's ranking second from the top. It's just around 31 million of cases, which is just short of 3 million from the US having 34 plus million cases, which my original prediction a year back was that India will be number one in COVID-19 cases, because comparing with China and India having same 1.4 billion population doesn't make sense, folks. China is very different in handling pandemic, in handling any threat or providing for its citizens than what the India does. India has a different approach towards its citizen. There is a class system in India. It is a covert class system where there's a high class people, then there are low class people, and then there are people, Dalits also untouchable. Well, this practice has been abolished long back in the law, eyes of the law. But actually, if you look at the India people, they have not abolished this practice. They still basically treat people untouchables, and those caste systems still play a lot. Well, apart from that, we see how the infections in India are coming up. This was a recent case, COVID-19, where a female who is a student of medical association or medical learning got reinfected with COVID-19. So it's the first case where they have seen getting a positive again with the virus after taking every cautionary aspect, even the vaccine. So talking of this nature, we can understand how the mutations are coming up in India and how they're going to play up these factors. So this women alone is an example who I've been telling long, and in this just 2-3 minutes back I've been telling it all. So another big topic here is that there is a spat going on between the EU nations over allowing India AstraZeneca production, and we're going to hear what's the problem here. Let's hear this clip.
Checking where it was manufactured, because if it was one of those that's been produced in India, it may not come with the benefits you think it does. Now, some European states, including France and Italy, say they won't accept travellers who've been vaccinated with AstraZeneca doses manufactured in India. As it stands, it depends on where you want to go in Europe, whether or not your Indian-manufactured vaccine will be accepted for entry. Here in Germany, along with 14 other countries in Europe, you're good to go. Anywhere else, including France, Italy, Denmark and a raft of other EU member states, you face being turned away. That's despite the jab being backed by the WHO and the vaccinations given as part of the UN's COVAX program.
We have to remember that during the pandemic, our challenges was to persuade the nations to accept that we are all in this together. Those recent policies could negatively impact this campaign. People who are already suspicious of vaccines will become even more suspicious. They could also lose trust in public health messages from the government and be less willing to comply with COVID rules.
By not accepting vaccinations approved by the World Health Organization, the UN Health Authority says these nations may well be putting global vaccination programs at risk.
Well, the outlook towards this is very simple, that the AstraZeneca is not an India product, it's a copycat vaccine. Or you can say, in my opinion, it's IPR dacoity, because India has been long watching for that the vaccinations or the formula for vaccination which other people have developed over months of hard work should be given freely to India, so that they can mass copy and mass produce and get and reap the mass benefits by the big pharmas and sell to the whole world their own vaccines stamped by Make in India. Whereas these original formulas belong to some other nations like US, UK, Germany, or maybe Russia. So folks, this is a big tussle on IPR dacoity, I guess. And France, Italy, have come up to face this because they also have a concern that India produce vaccines, even though it's AstraZeneca, which is also produced by other nation AstraZeneca. The India produced may be the one which is substandard, because in past they have seen various drugs supplied from India being substandard. They have found out the US FDA has been going with very different approach. However, there seems to be quite genuine concern by France, raised by even Italy and even Denmark. So I guess this seems to be quite right approach to have a common global scheme or biosecurity draft, folks, which is what we need. And it has to be under UNSC guidelines. Under UNSC sub WHO. So WHO should be under UNSC. This is how the global biosecurity draft is mandatorily required now. Otherwise, we have learned nothing from this pandemic. I don't know what this whole world leadership is sleeping over, but they have not learned anything regarding this pandemic. All these 1.5 years, they have enjoyed sitting in their offices, just issuing orders after orders, whereas they have not come up with any global plan for a global biosecurity draft. I've been telling them for the last 6 months, this is the most important thing you need to have, but they don't listen. That's the problem. And I don't know who they listen to, who tell them all the wrong advice. So this is what we are missing here. And we will see viruses more often now. And I've been predicting that we will see airborne virus, perhaps COVID-19 strain or a new strain of virus, evolve, who knows what, but it's going to be a airborne virus very soon, folks. It's just around 3 or 4 months down the line. Mark my words, by December 2021, we're going to see airborne viruses across the globe. Because of these leadership have failed to put up a global biosecurity draft so long so far. They have been just sitting and enjoying their time, sitting inside the offices and issuing the orders after orders and lockdowns after lockdowns. And people who have been hardworking have been hard hit because they have come down under poverty. And these leadership don't care. They're enjoying their metaphor ball games. All these leadership mostly are enjoying metaphor ball games. Having to play these games inside, sitting in their offices, nothing else better have come up. So where is this global biosecurity draft? That's the question the whole world needs to ask their leadership. They must write to their senators, they must write to the president, to the prime minister, that where is the global security draft? Okay, folks, quickly jumping on what's going on with the India rape pandemic. Here's the picture which we see that I've been cautioning that the COVID-19 disaster has complete making by these sexual predators. Because every time they touch a female, rape them, gang rape them, or whatever they do, they are basically circulating permutations for the mutations. Okay, another good step which India government is going to take is the anti-trafficking bill or the draft, which is in the parliament, which is going to be presented. And I hope they get through this because India does need this. This is going to be one of its kind against the traffickers of these girls, minor girls and females who have been exploited from various human trafficking agents of India, which is massive in numbers. I can't tell you the figures because the figures I tell you will put you off from your chair. So this is very much required. I've been telling them for almost 1 year that they need to have a anti-trafficking bill. And now this is coming up, but there is also a lot of objections to it because many of those people who are working for the trafficking empire, they're objecting with some of the other lacunas. So one of the good things which they are going to cover in this, which I've gone through some of the draft, and I see a good thing is that they are come up with a clause where they would not consider the consent of the victim, despite whether she had consent or she didn't, because if it's under trafficking, then they are going to be implicated in it. So this is very good bill. I think if it gets through, then we can see a sea of change in India towards these traffickers. And these human traffickers' empires will be closed or will be at least curtailed. And these are the clauses which are here, and I see this is just in line with the global anti-trafficking laws in the bill. I think they must close this quickly and put up The problem with human trafficking empire is so worse in India. I tell you, every locality they have inflicted, they have infested now. I reside here in SAS Nagar, Mohali 3B2, and I tell you folks, these human trafficking empires are all around, and they're supported by many people over here in neighborhood who are enjoying females delivery at their doorstep. They have done the metaphor games here, and they keep playing metaphor games where they try to entice other female into the same ball game. That see, you get delivery of boys or you get delivery of girls at your doorstep if you join hands with human trafficking empire. And those people who don't like them or oppose them, they are being basically harassed, hate crimes, or there is called this gameplay they do. The human trafficking empires and the neighborhood people who are enjoying females, that they try to somehow entrap, put a hate crime against them. All those things are happening here in India, man. So it's a quite bizarre scenario of human trafficking, how they're controlling. They're complicit with few officials of government also, because they're enjoying females every night. I see here in my locality, in my community. But the thing is, nobody wants to speak out. See, if you see this problem of rapes, in India, every 15 minutes they are raping a female. Where do you see those massive protests by the females? There are more than 666 million females in India, folks. When have you heard last a mass protest by females of India towards any incident of a rape? Every day there are at least hundreds of brutal incidents of rapes in India, including 5 years old, including toddlers brutalized. But females of India don't protest because they know their some family member is complicit in human trafficking empire. They're having free delivery of girls. They're enjoying. So everybody is quiet because they're all enjoying. This is how India is working, folks. You got to understand these people. That's why I keep telling you. 8 out of every 10 India population is downright corrupt, mostly morally, ethically bankrupt, and pathological liars. Yes, folks, these are pathological liars. In India, it's their first nature is to pathologically lie. There are very few truth tellers in India, and those who tell truth, these people attack them. That's called hate crime of India, or they have covert tactics towards them. So recently we saw this flare of lightning in India on a temple in Gujarat. This is bizarre weather pattern, you can say wrath of Mother Nature. Mother Nature is warning India that all you are doing, I'm watching. Your metaphor games don't come play over here. Where is the metaphor game now to save the lightnings or save people who are being killed by the lightning? Recently in Rajasthan, state of Rajasthan of India, we have seen at least 13-14 people instantly killed by a flash of lightning over just period of about 48 hours. More than 72 people died in flash of lightning. Mother Nature wrath on India shall continue, to my understanding, till they understand how to behave properly towards the global human rights. Stop using EM weapons, electromagnetic weapons against the civilians. Yes, folks, India is using military grade electromagnetic weapons against civilians. And what they see is Mother Nature reacting towards it. And every now and then people are getting killed by the Mother Nature wrath. So this is what the state of India is. 8 out of every 10 India population is downright corrupt, mostly morally, ethically bankrupt, and pathological liars. That's why female folks of India are very perturbed, disturbed by this ongoing gang rapes culture of India. And no leadership you will see openly speaking about this gang rape culture of India, because they're enjoying their lifestyle. And human trafficking people are enjoying delivering girls to the neighborhood around, and people are enjoying. This is the state of India. It's a very sorry figure. That's why this anti-trafficking bill is need of the hour. It's too late, too little, but at least something is there which is moving. So folks, these are my prior videos. You can take a look. Many times, my content, because it's so revealing, exposing India and all this underground things that India government and many people, you say 80% don't like it. You will never find any India people commenting on my videos saying at least you are exposing these things coming up. Well, folks, the Mother Nature is going to do the thing. Let's enjoy this good moment. There is a big flash of lightning in Germany. We are seeing the live Germany in Berlin, where the flash of lightning rod, you can say, directly bouncing on Germany to enlighten them with what's going on or what's the good or the wrong thing they are doing. They got to take a look. Something is going to happen for Germany, which is going to be water-related disaster, which is indicated by Mother Nature. Same goes for India, because that lightning strike on this Gujarat temple, Dwarka temple, is indication from Mother Nature that be prepared, the wrath is coming. Okay, folks, quickly moving on to the next topic. I've covered this topic in last, that the Carin energy, which is a UK-based energy, everybody knows about it. It's spread across many nations' jurisdiction, and there was a legal battle ongoing for at least many years with India government over the settlement of 1.4 billion tax evasion by India government. They had a dispute that they were taxing it and that was wrongly taxed, and they have to give it back or they have to adjust those taxation. But India government was trying to see some metaphor games so that this evaded and keep the money with them. However, recently Paris court ordered sternly to basically impound India government assets and property wherever they find, and the Carin Energy has now seizing more than 20 properties of India government. It's also trying to eye on more than $70 billion assets across the globe, which is in US, Canada, everywhere, because they have won the order in the international tribunal. So it's a very sorry figure for India, and it's a very dismal performance how India could have let this happen. And India government was sleeping all the time, trying to play metaphor games daily. So they are just watching and having massive surveillance and enjoying the metaphor games, whereas they are having international tribunal disputes and what's going on with this. It's not just first case of this. If you look at it, there were many other cases where India government has miserably lost trying to play games with other people, trying to, have a tax evasion, or you can say in some sense money laundering. Yes, it's an international money laundering scheme by India government. It's an open fact. And their properties have been seized now. Come on, what else do you want to see from India government? Where they are having these lapses and they're trying to put up a show towards the world that they are trying to be very true. They are very true people and they are trying to always give up the best of the truth to the world. Well, that's not the fact, folks. You have to be very careful what government does of India, because many times you have to be validating at least 10 times what they say and what they do. 10 times, folks. Then only you must trust India government. Because even High Courts recently, Delhi High Court, rebuked India government and the governments that they have come in the court and lie. Can you imagine the courts of India rebuking these people, the government, that they come in the courts and lie? And what the India government is doing is celebrating. It recently allowed all its central government employees, which is almost around 12 million. It's an army of employees. It's just the federal employees, you can understand, 12 million, having enjoy the DNS allowance increment of at least 27-26%. Yes, folks, under this recession times, this COVID-19, they're enjoying the, giving them the bounties that, okay, you're doing a very good job sitting at home. So, well, there are many other topics which are important, but we try to come up with those things which are trying to pinch the world, the population most, because if you see at this arbitration, it has put up India in a very sorry state, and the people who are working hard, they're also into this trouble. Okay, folks, we're gonna wrap up now, and I hope you stay healthy. You try to be in up spirits, good mind, body and spirits, and in a meditative stance or whatever you do to focus your mind. It's going to be good for your health. So let's hope this Mother Nature is going to come up with some plan if we try to do something good towards Mother Nature, towards the conservation of planet green, and we're going to see some good effects. Otherwise, you can see these disasters are going to multifold. I'm predicting this already. It's going to be multifold, apart from pandemic, which is going to be airborne, and a lot of other things. So folks, it's better we prepare for this world, better for our future generation, or else we have lost it. Okay folks, I take belief. Let's hope we come up with some good plan.